Hello, everyone. Today I am going to talk about the difference between a good person and an evil person in relation to Master Shinran's view of human nature. How can we define a good person and an evil person? What exactly is the meaning of good people and evil people? This is a commonly discussed topic among philosophers and thinkers. In Master Shinran's teachings, we find a particularly interesting definition of good people and evil people. You see, Master Shinran is very well known for his teaching that the evil person is the true object of salvation. In the book Tanisho, he is quoted as having said, "Even a good person will be born in the Pure Land, how much more so an evil person?" This quote is very well known in Japan. It's a really surprising statement. Even a good person can be saved. How much more so an evil person? So he said that an evil person can be saved all the more? Well, what on earth did he mean by that? If Master Shinran had said even an evil person can be saved, how much more so a good person? That would have made perfect sense to us, but what he said was the complete opposite. Even a good person can be saved. How much more so an evil person? So why did he say that? If this quote had been from some random unknown person, it could have been brushed off as just some nonsense. But this is a quote from Master Shinran, who is a highly intelligent and well-respected person. It must have some deep meaning to it. Why would he have said that it is evil people in particular who will be saved? Over the course of history, there has been a lot of controversy over this quote, to the point where it might be the most well-known quote in the history of Japanese philosophy. So, if we want to gain a good understanding of what Master Shinran meant by this, it is essential to know what exactly good person and evil person means here. What kind of people was Master Shinran referring to with the terms good people and evil people? If we don't understand this key point, then this quote from Tanisho won't make any sense to us. So in this video, I will explore the meaning of good persons and evil persons. There will be 3 parts to this video. 1. What is an evil person? 2. What will we find if we look into our minds? 3. What is meant by the evil person is the true object of salvation? The definitions of good person and evil persons can be completely different based on who you ask and how they view things. However, I would like to focus on the general viewpoints of law, morals, and Buddhism. From a legal standpoint, most people could be called good people because they don't break the law. Evil people would then be those who have broken the law. Since the law has deemed these people evil, they end up being arrested, put on trial, and sent to jail as punishment for their crime. These crimes include things like killing and stealing. Perhaps some of today's viewers are watching this from prison. Well, I'd imagine most of you are somewhere other than prison, so that means in the eyes of the law, you are considered good citizens, good people. The law places importance on deeds of the body. It judges you as good or evil based on, for example, whether or not you have killed someone. It decides whether you are innocent or guilty based on whether or not you have committed a crime, like murder. So, if you haven't killed someone, then you're a good person, and if you have, then you're an evil person. The law says that good people are those who have not committed any crimes, and evil people are those who have committed a crime. Now let us look at the moral viewpoint. When it comes to the definition of good people and evil peoples, morals are a little stricter than the law. They place importance not only on physical deeds, but also on the words that people say. Maybe you didn't actually physically go ahead and kill someone. Maybe you didn't actually commit the crime of murder. But if you verbally wish that person dead or threaten to kill them, that counts as a moral offense. So then, Even if the law would not consider you to be an evil person, from a moral viewpoint, you may very well be called an evil person. So morals and ethics decide whether you are a good person or an evil person based not only on the deeds that you physically do, but also on what kind of things you say. So that means that if you do things like verbally harass people, you hold power over at work, put others down, say bad things about others, or constantly brag about how great you think you are, ethics and morals would label you an evil person. By contrast, if you say kind things to people, speak modestly of yourself, and talk gently to others, ethics and morals would label you a good person. So in this way, ethics and morals take verbal deeds into consideration as well as physical deeds. Think about your colleagues at your job. You probably have an opinion about each of them. That person is awful, or oh, this one is so nice, or that person is really admirable. In this way, we tend to judge people as good or bad, and these judgments tend to be based on morals rather than the law. If our judgments were based on the law, well, the police would probably have to get involved. Our ideas of which colleague is good and which one is bad, though, are largely based on moral standards. Well then, what about the Buddhist point of view? Of course, Buddhism takes into account both actions of the body and actions of the mouth, but it places most importance on the actions of the mind. It is always what we are thinking that is of greatest significance. This is the Buddhist viewpoint. So Buddhism compels us to look within the mind. This means that even if you haven't physically killed anyone, and even if you never once said that you wanted to kill a person, if you mentally wish someone dead, then Buddhism would categorize you as an evil person. The way Buddhism views us is very strict. If we contrast the law, morals, and Buddhism with each other, the law can be compared to the naked eye, morals to a magnifying glass, and Buddhism to an electron microscope. If you look at the palm of your hand with the naked eye, it looks pretty clean. If you look at it under a magnifying glass, it still won't look particularly dirty, so you won't have any problem using that hand to eat a bun, for instance, and then licking your fingers when you're done. Your hand just doesn't look all that dirty when viewed by the naked eye or under a magnifying glass. What do you think will happen, though, if you look at the palm of your hand under an electron microscope? You'll see that your hand is swarming with germs. You can't see all that bacteria with the naked eye or with a magnifying glass. Only if you use an electron microscope will you be able to see it. Once you do, you will be shocked to see just how dirty your hand actually is. Even if the hand of the most beautiful actress was put under an electron microscope, you'd soon see that it was crawling with so many germs that you could hardly help but cringe in disgust. The way Buddhism views things is just like an electron microscope. In other words, Buddhism examines the inner workings of the human mind. If you look into your mind, can you really say that you are a completely good person? On this, Master Shinran taught that, from the perspective of Buddhism, close inspection of the human mind reveals that all people are evil peoples. We find these words in Master Shinran's book, Teaching Practice Faith Enlightenment. The sea of all sentient beings is polluted with evil and lacking in a mind of purity. The sea of all sentient beings means all people. Yes, that's all people. So, Master Shinran was saying that every single human being, without a single exception, is polluted with evil. When you hear this, you might think, what? All people are polluted with evil? No, that's not true at all. Just look at him. He's a really admirable guy. And she's such a good person too. But what you need to understand is that what we are talking about is specifically the mind here. When you look inside your mind, you'll be surprised to find foul things in there. This is what Master Shinran meant when he said we are polluted with evil. He also said we are lacking in a mind of purity. Does anyone have such a pure mind as to be able to say, "Hey everyone, come and look inside my mind"? Anyone is welcome to come and see it. If you haven't cleaned your room, and then a visitor comes around, you probably won't want them going into your room and seeing the mess in there. If you've cleaned and tidied your room, though, then you'll happily welcome anyone in, even if they're a VIP. Is your mind really like a clean and tidy room that you would willingly invite anyone into? That was what Master Shinran was saying in this quote, that we don't have pure, clean minds. None of us do. Do you think that there is anyone who, after having their mind inspected, could truly be called a good person? How about you? Well, in the early 2000s, I watched an anime called Kino's Journey, and it really left an impression on me. In the first episode, the main character, Kino, goes to a country where each person lives on their own. Everybody there is actively avoiding interaction with each other. Kino then meets a man there who reveals why the people of this country live like this. This country is very scientifically advanced, and scientists had developed a potion that they thought would make everybody happy. What this potion did was give people the ability to see into each other's minds. Since people would get angry with each other and clash with each other because they had trouble understanding each other's thinking, they thought the solution was to be able to see all of each other's thoughts. If they drank this potion, they wouldn't need to try to explain their thoughts in words, because the other person would already be able to see into their minds anyway. That was why the people of this country developed this potion. This potion was groundbreaking, so the people of this country rejoiced and threw a celebration. They decided they all wanted to drink the potion at the party, and so on the Prime Minister's cube, everybody drank it at the same time. And just like that, everyone was able to know what others were thinking. At first, this seemed to be good. One man came to know that someone he had thought of as a friend actually loved him as soon as he drank the potion. This man was also in love with her. Now she knew that he felt the same. Now they didn't even need words for this. Right away, the couple decided to get married. So, at first, everyone thought this was such a wonderful potion, but then things went downhill for the newlyweds from the first day of marriage. Since they could hear all of each other's thoughts, they began to realize each other's opinions on things, and this made them feel disappointed in each other. Every single thing that one of them thought, the other one could hear. So if one of them thought, "Maybe I jumped into this marriage too quickly," the other one could hear it. You see, every person has a lot of thoughts that others really don't need to know about. This couple knew all of each other's thoughts. Unsurprisingly, then, their marriage didn't even last 3 days before they got divorced. This would be the consequence of looking into other people's minds. And not just between couples, but also between parent and child, or superior and subordinate. If we were able to know everything that others are really thinking, then all of our relationships would end up ruined. It would be the same for a teacher and their students. The students would be shocked at the kind of things their teacher is thinking, and the teacher would be startled to realize how their students see them. Neither student nor teacher would be able to trust each other anymore. Maybe the teacher would just stop teaching at the school, or the students would stop coming. Either way, the consequences would be awful. In Kino's journey, the people of that country ended up living alone because of this. This shows just how awful it would be to hear everything that other people are thinking. In the long-running anime Doraemon, there is a gadget called a mind-reading helmet. If you put it on, you will know everything that others are thinking. In one episode, a boy called Giant wants to know what everyone thinks of his singing. When he uses the helmet to read everyone's thoughts about it, he gets a nasty surprise. What if someone knew everything you are thinking? What if there was another screen next to this video that you're watching that showed all of my thoughts as they happened? That would be so embarrassing. I couldn't keep making videos, and I'd probably run right away. Or rather, Maybe I'd be chased off by all of you. That scream might appall people so much the comments would be nothing but flames. Is there anyone that we would still admire if we looked into their mind? What do you think? Do you not have thoughts that you couldn't tell anyone about? Do you not have thoughts that you couldn't even tell your parents about, or your kids about, or your spouse about? Clearly then, when you look at people's minds, not a single person can truly be said to be good. There are people whom everyone thinks are good because they say good things and do good things, but that's just the outside. What about the inside? This is what Master Shinran was expressing when he said that the sea of all sentient beings, meaning all humanity, is polluted and completely lacks a mind of purity. In other words, he was saying that all people are evil people. So then, what is the meaning of? The evil person is the true object of salvation. This phrase is also known as akunin shoki in Japanese. In Buddhism, sho means truth and ki means one's own mind or self. So akunin shoki means that the evil one is the true self. In other words, it means that all people are evil people. So Master Shinran was saying that if you take a thorough look at the human mind, you will see that all people are evil people. The true object of salvation means the real target of the salvation granted by Buddha, the particular kind of person that Buddha aims to save. So then, it is evil people in particular that Buddha wishes to save. Evil people are Buddha's main guests, so to speak. Imagine President Trump goes to Japan and a banquet is held there in his honor. There the Japanese chef will present him with his favorite food. Apparently he likes hamburgers, so the dish he is given is a hamburger. Why? Because the president is the main guest? Of course, many other people will be eating at the banquet, but the one that the hosts will want to please the most is the president. He is the main guest of the event, so he will be served his favorite food. The cooks will be making food for many other people too, but the president will get a special dish. In a similar way, the main focus of salvation in Buddhism is the evil person. Why is this? Another way of expressing evil people in a Buddhist sense is suffering people. Evil people are those who are suffering, those who are troubled and tormented. You see, when we think bad things, then under the right conditions, those bad thoughts will come out as bad words and we might end up hurting people. Also, under the right conditions, our bad thoughts will lead us to physically do bad deeds, which might even land us in jail. Because we have bad thoughts, we end up performing bad actions. But not only that, even if we try not to verbally or physically express our thoughts, inside we still go on resenting others and getting angry, and this weighs down on us emotionally. It is precisely beings who suffer because of their bad deeds that Buddha wants to strive to save. Master Shinran made this crystal clear. This is the meaning of the evil person, is the true object of salvation. Amida Buddha made a vow to grant salvation, and the true target of his vow, the particular people he wants to save, are those who are suffering because of their own bad deeds. Master Shinran dedicated his life to clarifying this. So when Master Shinran said, even a good person will be born in the Pure Land, how much more so an evil person? He was using the Buddhist definition of evil person, which is all human beings. Then what could good person mean? A good person is one who conceitedly believes that they are capable of true good, and so they doubt in Amida's vow, doubt in the Buddhist teachings, and protest that they are not an evil person. This is the meaning of good person here. Even such conceited people will be guided when they listen to Buddhism. What Buddhism does is show us the whole truth of what is inside of us. In this way, Buddhism is like a mirror, so Buddhism is called the mirror of Dharma. While we are still far away from this mirror, We think that we are good, but the more we listen to Buddhism, the closer we get to the mirror, and the more we are made to see of what is in our minds. Then we begin to realize that, just as Sakyamuni Buddha said, just as Amida Buddha discerned, we really are evil beings who completely lack a mind of purity. Upon being made to see that we really are the true object of Buddha's salvation in this way, we cannot help but rejoice. Master Shinran devoted himself to teaching that we too can encounter this salvation. So, in this video, we learned about the definitions of good person and evil person in Master Shinran's teaching. There is plenty more to learn about from the book Tanisho, much more than what I could explain about in this short video. I would like to go into more detail, so please stay tuned for more videos explaining the Buddhist teachings. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment below. If you want to catch future videos as I release them, then please subscribe to this channel and click the bell button so that you don't miss out on any notifications. That's all for now. See you next time.